The jungle floor was cracked from weeks without rain. Dust clung to the fur of every creature moving through it, but one fox smaller than the others, with a limp in his back leg, searching. He wasn't hunting food, he was chasing a scent that no one else could smell. His nose twitched, following something ancient, almost forgotten, something good. After days of walking, the air shifted. He heard a gurgling sound, distant yet clear. Hope sparked in his chest, pushing away the dryness and the ache in his leg. The scent grew stronger, more distinct. And then he saw it, tucked between gnarled tree roots, a splash of vibrant green, a wall of hanging vines blocking a hidden space beyond. Cautiously, the fox pushed through the curtain of green. On the other side, the world seemed different. No parched earth, no endless blue sky. Above him, the canopy was thick, sheltering a miniature paradise. Vines curled like fingers around smooth stones. Purple blossoms opened toward the sun. In the center, a pool shimmered like melted glass. But what truly captured the fox's attention was the gurgling sound, now clear and inviting. It came from a spring, bubbling up from beneath the roots of a giant fig tree. The fox dipped his muzzle into the water and lapped up the sweet liquid. It was unlike any water he'd tasted before, cool and fresh, invigorating. As the days passed, the fox returned to the secret garden again and again. Each time he drank from the spring, the limp in his leg faded a little. His fur, once dull, grew thicker and glossier. His eyes, dimmed by exhaustion, gleamed with life again. The garden wasn't just a source of water. It was healing him, restoring him. But why? The fox couldn't understand it. All he knew was that he felt better, stronger, braver. One morning, a large monitor lizard lumbered past the garden. Usually, the fox would have bolted, his heart pounding in his chest. But this time, he didn't move. The lizard paused, its yellow eyes fixed on the fox. For a moment, neither moved. Then the lizard flicked its tongue, tasting the air, and disappeared into the undergrowth. The fox remained still, his gaze unwavering. When the lizard approached, he had stood his ground. Something within him had shifted. The garden had changed him. Word spread through the jungle about the small fox who stood against the monitor lizard. Some animals were skeptical, convinced it was just another boastful tale. But many were intrigued. They, too, had felt the effects of the long dry season, the weakness, the fear, the despair. If the garden could help the small fox, perhaps it could help them. One afternoon, a troop of gray langurs ventured near the garden. They chattered nervously, their eyes darting around. Langurs were agile and swift, but they weren't fearless. The dry season tested them as much as any other creature. The leader, a grizzled old male, approached the garden cautiously. As he drank from the spring, a low rumble echoed through the jungle. The langurs froze, their ears twitching. Bataga was in the vicinity. The rumbling grew louder, closer. Panic surged through the tigers were their worst nightmare. The fox, who had been resting nearby, perked up, his ears pricked. He knew the tiger. It was the same one that had injured his leg all those weeks ago. The tiger burst through the undergrowth, its orange and black striped fur blazing in the dappled sunlight. Its eyes, bright and intense, scanned the clearing. The langurs huddled together, their bodies trembling. The fox stood his ground, meeting the tiger's gaze. In that moment, something unexpected happened. The tiger, instead of attacking, lowered its head in a gesture of acknowledgement and moved on. The langurs watched in stunned silence as the tiger disappeared. Then they erupted in relieved chatter. The fox turned to them, his chest heaving. He didn't understand why the tiger had spared them, but he was grateful nonetheless. More animals began visiting the garden, drawn by the promise of healing water and safety. Monkeys, deer, even elephants came seeking solace. With each visitor, the garden's reputation grew, becoming a sanctuary in the heart of the dry and dangerous jungle. But the fox knew that the garden's power wasn't just in its water or its ability to heal. It was also a place of courage, a place where fear seemed to vanish and strength bloomed. Then one afternoon, a wildfire sparked on the eastern ridge. Flames moved fast, swallowing trees in seconds. Birds scattered. Monkeys screamed. The fox watched in horror as the fire swept closer and closer to the garden. He had never seen a fire like this before. So furious, so unstoppable. Panic threatened to overwhelm him, but he shook it off. He had to do something. He barked, trying to alert the other animals, but his voice was lost in the roar of the flames. He raced toward the nearest fig tree, the one with the healing spring, and scrambled up its trunk. From above, he could see the fire approaching the garden wall of vines. He knew that if the fire reached the vines, the garden might be destroyed. With trembling paws, he reached out and pulled at the vines, creating a gap just big enough for him to slip through. On the other side, he raced to the spring and lapped up some water, gaining strength and courage. Then he turned and stared at the wall of vines, bracing himself. The fire roared as it crashed into the vines, but the flames faltered, as if hesitant to enter. The fox let out a fierce bark and charged toward the fire. Surprised by the sudden movement, the flames retreated, giving way to the small, determined fox. He raced back and forth between the two openings, guiding the animals away from the advancing fire. The blaze followed, but it never entered the garden. Finally, as quickly as it had started, the fire began to fade. The flames grew weaker, the roar subsided to a crackling. When the first rays of sunlight pierced through the canopy, the animals emerged from their hiding places, shaken but unharmed. They looked at the garden, at the small fox, with newfound respect and gratitude. They didn't understand how the garden had protected itself from the fire, but they knew that the fox had played a part in saving them all. From that day on, the fox was known as the guardian of the garden, a title he wore with quiet pride. He continued to watch over the animals, guiding them to the healing spring and reminding them that even in the darkest times, there is always hope. The garden, with its magical water and protective spirit, became a beacon of light in the heart of the jungle. And whenever the animals gathered there, they whispered tales of the little fox who dared to dream of water in the dry season and who risked everything to save them all. Some say the water in that garden came from an underground river, fed by ancient springs. Others whisper that it was once a burial site of an old tribe that protected animals. But no one truly knows. What they do know is that deep in the jungle, hidden from prying eyes, there is a place where water flows freely, where flames are tamed, and where a small fox with a limp and a dream keeps watch. This is the story of the fox and the secret garden. And if you liked this story, then please remember to hit that like button and subscribe. And if you've got a story you'd like to share with us, then visit our website and send us a message. Who knows? Your story could be the next one we bring to life.